there's a setting where you can be or not be on video.
Good morning, everyone. It is the top of the hour. Welcome to Unity of Tacoma. I'm so glad you decided to join us today on this beautiful fall morning. You never know for sure here in the Pacific Northwest when you get up if you're going to have something that's sunny or if it's going to be raining. Because yesterday it was all rainy and today it's absolutely gorgeous. So welcome. I'm glad you decided to be here and to come to this wonderful service we have today that's focused on the color orange, you can see, and we also have the symbol of the sun. We are now knee deep into faith in action, and over the next coming weeks we'll be doing some fun stuff with that, and I will talk more about that as we move through the service. My name is Reverend Lori Irwin Johnson, and I use the pronouns she and her. And this is this opportunity that we have today is to go through what we're talking about is Brené Brown's book, Atlas of Faith. Atlas of what's the name of our book? Somebody open up the microphone.
Atlas of the Heart.
Atlas of the Heart. Thank you very much. I totally spaced that. So thank you so much for. We will be doing that over the next coming weeks. So I wanted to go through the slides here as I share my screen again. We have a special musical guest today, as we always do. We have Christine S. Young here today. She's going to come in here in just a moment to be able to bring us into the service with a new song. We also have a guest speaker today. We have David Elliott that's here today, and he's going to give the message. So I'm looking forward to that. But in the meantime, I'm going to invite Christine S. in for her first song. Are you ready?
There is a space in my heart where I find the truth. I find me in you, a truth beyond what you may see now. But when we are one, we bring more good about. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yeah, there is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. See with new eyes, allow and unfold, embrace and let go, trust the flow. There's freedom in love when you follow your heart. Together we are stronger than we could ever be apart. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yeah, there is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. Breathe in so all that's around you, all that you feel, all that you know, let it go. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we are. When we yeah. You are welcome here. Love is welcome here. Peace is welcome here. You are welcome here.
Thank you, Christine S. I love that song. A song by John Stringer, I believe. Beautiful. Thank you. All right. Well, let's go into our message. Before I invite David back, I want to talk a little bit about what's going on here at Unity of Tacoma. So each week we have a artist and we have a color and we have a symbol all through Faith in Action. Now, Faith in Action is a 7-week program that we normally have, and then we focus on a book. And today I am the artist. So this is the art piece that I put in for this week. And it now sits in my grandbaby's bedroom, and he really enjoys it. So it was fun to make. And so you can see each of us have a focus on a specific symbol, like I said, in a color. And we all incorporated some hearts into our artwork. So you can see that the sun is in the background. You know how difficult it was to do Halloween and the sun at the same time. So I found some interesting photos and I was able to incorporate it. So it's all there. And the leaves are the hearts. So fortunately, some pumpkin leaves are heart-shaped. So that worked out perfect. So we are currently working on Atlas of the Heart, and we are on we're on chapter 7 and 8, places we go with others, and chapter 8, places we go when we fall short. So we have a book study that's coming up on Wednesday. So if you're interested in that, Victoria is going to go over some of that when we get to that point. Each week we have a different artist. And for the past couple of weeks, we've had different colors as well. So the first week, the color was blue and the symbol was the wave, and that was from Katie. The second week, the symbol was the star. The color was yellow, and that was Victoria. And finally, last week we had Karen. The color was green. The symbol was the seedling. And it turned out really awesome. So thank you, Karen. Everyone has done a wonderful job with their art pieces, and I'm really excited to be able to see that unfold as we move forward. I'm going to invite, before we go into message though, I am going to invite Christine S. back for one more song before David takes us into prayer and message and all of those things.
Inside of me, afraid to let others see how I struggle inside, too scared I can't hide. If I let go and start fighting, but what does it mean to let go? To let yourself fall on the ground. Been standing so long, afraid for my song to sound wrong. I've stayed silent. Will it all fall down? Will my whole world come crashing down? When I refuse to let go, cling to the comfort I know, and avoid what I'm supposed to be. They all tell me you are so strong, with all the courage to be dragged along. I've hung on for so long, it's become my theme song, and now my wounds are more than they need to be. And what is inside of me, I'm refusing to let myself see. If I lay down my fences, discard all defenses, what will be left? What will be left to protect me? Oh, fall down. Does my whole world come crashing down? Are there any survivors? Do I get a second chance to be what I'm supposed to be? Or does it all fall down? And when one stands tall as an example on earth to us all this misunderstanding threatens to challenge what we thought what we were supposed to be. So we take care of those storms persecution and taunting, denial and haunting, seem to see what we could all be. That's when we fall down. That's when our whole world comes crashing down. Because spreading the fear till it's all we can hear keeps us blind to what we're meant, blind to what we're meant to be. So let me fall down, allow myself to just be on the ground, understanding anew what God's love can do, knowing I'll be made new again. If I just fall down, fall to my knees on the ground, lay down our burden, come to Him empty, that we may be made whole, that we may be made whole. When we tear down our walls to the ground, find the courage to show the inner faith that we know, and step into what we're meant, step into what we're meant to be. Yeah. Fall down. So let me fall down, fall to my knees on the ground, and find the courage to show the inner faith that I know, and step into what I'm meant, step into what I'm meant to be.
Thank you. All right. Yeah, everybody, you can't see everybody doing that, but thank you. I'm going to go into the affirmation page, which we do have. Denise has created some beautiful affirmation slides for us to see. So I want to share those with you before I invite David to do his thing. If you've been following along throughout Faith in Action, we have been every week we've had a tree, and on the tree is the name of every person who affirms with us our affirmations each and every week. And so everyone that's on the screen here on the leaves were here last week, whether they were here during the message or they were here during the book study. Their name is on the tree. So today's affirmations, we have two actually, because we've been doing 2 chapters per week. And today's affirmations: I nurture meaningful connections that enrich my spirit and bring joy to my life. So let's say that first one together. I nurture meaningful connections that enrich my spirit and bring joy to my life. And let's say the next one together. I am imperfectly beautiful and grow stronger through my mistakes and failures. I am imperfectly beautiful and grow stronger through my mistakes and failures. So I'm going to invite David, who's going to bless us with a beautiful message. Come on in, David.
Oh, David.
Am I not in? Okay.
You are there, yes.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone. It's truly a pleasure to be back here at Unity of Tacoma. And it's a pleasure for me to be working with this book again, or with this author. Brene Brown is one of the most relatable authors and speakers that I've found to take sometimes complex ideas and bring them down to the understandable ways of engaging the ideas. When I was minister at Unity of Tacoma, we did several series based on Brene Brown work. The Gifts of Imperfection, Daring Greatly, Rising Strong, Braving the Wilderness are some that come to mind. What she does is helps us build skills, the skills that are needed for us to thrive in our tribe, whatever that is, or to thrive in our family, to thrive in our workplace, to thrive and in order to thrive, we first must survive. And that's what our emotions are about. Most of the emotions that we've developed as we developed into humanity are there because they help us survive. It's notable to me. I just want to make note, I guess, that what she's doing with this book is using a language, and she's pointing to the language, and she keeps mentioning how important the languaging is, because the language helps us parse the ideas down to the fine grit. It's the use of the word, the words that we express, the words that we exchange to create and define our life. We do that anyway. We do it unconsciously, and we do it sometimes horribly, and we do it sometimes beautifully. But we're always creating through the way we use our words. And so her approach here, using language to understand ourselves, is just right up my alley. It's so familiar to me. We are social animals. We evolved at some point to be individuals within a group, but we're always meant to be within a group. And we can survive sometimes without one. We can survive by ourselves out in the woods. People have done this for long periods of time, or mostly for short periods of time. But we're changed by that so much that we have trouble coming back into a group. when I was reading this part and working up this part, especially about the way we use our words, I was reminded of some work by Charles Fillmore. Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of Unity, has a vast library of writings, things that he wrote about, and one of his books was Mysteries of Genesis. It's the book of Genesis, and he's talking about the mythological story where God's creating the world and creating the different aspects of the world. And in the second version, there's two creation stories in Genesis. Chapter 1 is one, chapter 2 is two. Don't let anybody tell you that's a progression, because it's not. It never was meant to be that way. But in the second chapter, uh, Yahweh gives Adam the power to name the animals. This is the great divinity of the universe, creating humanity so that humans can name the animals. Well, those animals in Fillmore's work represent thoughts and thought forms. It's that way not just through his work. It's that way in some of Jung's work, in the mythology work that was done by Joseph Campbell. Um, the animals represent the thought forms anyway. Well, if we can name those thought forms, when we can name those emotions and get it parsed right down, then we can understand really what it is that we're reacting to or responding to, or how we're going to find our way through a situation and be happy and be accepting and be of use in the world. I came in of age in the I was coming of age in preteen in the 60s, and became a teen in the late in 69, and I went through my teen years in the early 70s, and I had what was called a mood ring. You may remember mood rings if you're of a certain age. I don't know if they still have mood rings. I didn't look on Amazon to see if you can get one. I'll bet you can. And the idea of the mood ring was, I don't know what substance they were using that was supposed to feel the changes in your body. You know, when you change emotions, your face can flush. She talks in these chapters. She talks about that happening in humiliation. Well, that happens with anger. Your shoulders can tense up, and you have a bodily response. When we're peaceful, our body is at peace, and our body is comfortable. We may be moving our body, but the body is helping us set the mood, and the mood is all about the emotions. I mentioned mood ring. Yes, those are about emotions. The emotions change our body. When our brain is wired so fully all the way through our body that it's a mistake to think of the brain and not talk about the body, because the web of neurons, or the web of neural connectors, just go all the way through our experience. When somebody hits you, you get mad right away. Or get sad right away if somebody pushes you, or somebody grabs you and turns you around. If you see with your eyes, if you use your physical eyes, you see somebody that you love, you can have that change. It changes the body, and because of that, we can get lost in what I'm going to call enmeshment. And she talks a little bit about enmeshment. The need for boundaries is around emotions is included in these chapters, and I'm not going to repeat what she does. I'm going to talk about it in my way. The the use of boundaries is necessary. I guess I'm going to relate a past wife experience. Um, Now I have three ex-wives, and I have enough ex-girlfriends that I don't need to give you a number. And so this could be anyone. It's not. I don't mean to point to anyone, but I had a relationship where where simply relating to one another was not enough for her. And I really liked her, and I really went along with everything, all her ideas. I trusted her to know how to form a relationship because I knew from a previous experience that I kind of didn't. And what we ended up with is complete enmeshment. Um, um, I didn't know where I ended and she began because she insisted we were one in everything that way. And and somehow it was true for me, but not true for her. And that's a whole other story. I don't need to tell that story, but the point is here that when she broke it off, um, it destroyed me. It's like I lost half of myself because I was so emotionally enmeshed. I would wait for her to get home. I would get home from work before she did, and I'd wait for her to get home to work to see what kind of mood she's in, so I would know what kind of mood we're in. It was that bad, and I was lost for quite a while, just lost. The emotions. The emotions are the link between our brain and our body. Somebody, somebody says she uses the heart as the symbol. You know it's not in the heart, but the part of the brain that that handles emotions. And something happens, you stop breathing. Your heart can skip a beat. It can speed up to get you out of there, so you can race. It's all um, oh, I got a little sign that says your internet connection is unstable. That stopped me there. Um, but my point is that by understanding our emotions, by parsing them down, we're building and expanding our ability to communicate, have our brain communicate with our body, to have our body communicate with our brain. Because what we were taught growing up was very much often to shut that down, to shut down that link. Don't express that emotion. Uh, my uh, my early experiences were very much like that. I've been very open about that. I try not to work out my stuff on you, but I don't always know if I'm gonna succeed at that. Um, the um, in my home where my parents were raising us, boundaries just didn't exist, and if we expressed anger, if I was unhappy about something, they would hear it, but most of the time I was just wrong for being unhappy. No, that's the wrong emotion. That's the wrong way to feel. Um, One of the secrets of ministry that I never told my father, that he never understood about ministry, I don't think, is that all my bullies at school were the kids that came out of our church. All my bullies were in our church. The other kids in the community may have been warned off of messing with the minister's kids because they don't want to have to deal with the minister ever. I didn't learn that until I grew up, but that's what was going on. But the kids in my church, they could sense that my father couldn't do anything or wouldn't do anything, I guess. I was a target. Of course, I had four schools by the time I graduated high school. That part of it didn't help much. So you're always going in as the new person, and everything can feel like bullying. Anything can trigger shame. Humility is one of the topics that's important to her in this chapter, and it occurs to me that she's talking about humility and how to have that. She talks at length about shame. And I want to suggest the idea that they work together, that we evolved to live in a family. We evolved to live in what you would call a tribe. The natural normal number for one person having connections is about 50 people. And sociologists, anthropologists divide up our groupings that way, because when they observe humanity, the way they would go out and observe chimps or observe deer in the wild to see how they live. When you observe humanity, you see that we have to have the quality of humility in order to relate to one another in ways that are going to be meaningful, and to keep the communication open, not to shut things down. And in order to have humility, we have what's called shame. Just think about that. I'm not going to try to prove it. This is just an idea that I came up with as I was reading here. That connection is important to see. We build a system so that we need to build a system so that our needs are met, and the others in the group have their needs met, so they can help us and we can help them. And so we regulate our behavior. The behavior regulation is right there in the emotions. When we feel shame for something, a way we acted toward another person, that's going to help us build that humility. When we do build the humility and bring that into our actions, then we start to build trust. Now, I'm a little bit peeved that I didn't get trust in my message here, because I love to harp on trust. I love what she does with it. It's a couple of chapters ahead, but trust itself is the prerequisite for being at peace and in harmony in relationships. Once trust is broken, it has to find a way to be restored, or it has to be taken into account, and it messes up everything within a group when trust isn't doing its correct job. Self-compassion is related to self-care in much that same way. I studied it as self-care. In seminary, they just kept telling us how to take care of ourselves. And the end result of not taking care of yourself was called burnout. Well, that doesn't just happen to ministers, and it doesn't just happen in a workplace. Burnout can happen in a family. Burnout can happen in various communities, and it happens within an individual, and it affects everybody. Toward the end of my time in ministry at Unity of Tacoma, I was certainly burned out. I had needed to take care of myself, or I had needed to retire. The situation was such that I really couldn't do that. There were some moves that the church needed to make. And I have to tell you, if you can find a way to do that self-care, to use self-compassion. Compassion, she distinguishes from empathy. Empathy being okay. I'll have to rephrase this. Compassion itself requires action. Empathy doesn't require action. Now, you might argue that that compassion requires empathy. There's something that's moving you to take action, but compassion is going to change the way you're acting. So, is compassion an act, or is compassion an emotion? She says yes, it is. It's an emotion, but if it's not moving you to action, then it's either empathy or sympathy. Sympathy being the separator, a separating emotion. If you have sympathy for someone, you're looking down on their situation. You're looking at it from the outside. Empathy, you're right in there with them. You don't have to carry the same emotion, but you can be there with a person when the emotions are there. It shows up in a group, in a community when someone's lost. You go to a funeral, you go to a memorial service, you come together, you grieve, you're having the emotions together. You're sharing the emotions together. They're growing, you build them, and then and let them be part of the healing journey. I had well, when I would have wrong emotions in my household, I was treated with with the phrase, "We're not going to discuss it." And what we need to be doing is finding ways to discuss our emotions. We must express our compassion. We must take action in the face of suffering. I'm a fan of of a television show from early in the 21st century. It may have been that it started in the late 90s. It was a very stupid television show called My Name is Earl. Now, I say stupid. It was vulgar. All right. It was vulgar and it was very smart. It was very human. It took some basic ideas from the Buddhist tradition and expanded on them. She quotes in these chapters. Brene Brown quotes the Buddhist nun Pema Chodron. Pema Chodron showed up on an episode of My Name is Earl. Excuse me. She showed up and she's not credited. In this episode, they go out to this community, and in this community, they do things like meditate. It's a complete immersion for old redneck Earl to be out in this conscious community. And at the end, as there's um, just fanning the camera around at the end. They focus in on a woman at a loom, just weaving and smiling, and it's Pema Chodron. And she's not credited, but I know it's her. I had to get the DVD from the library so I could stop it right there and then go through the internet and look at all my pictures, just make sure it's her. By her very presence there, her very serene presence there, she was supporting those ideas that's in that vulgar TV show. Now, here's the thing. I'm a vulgar guy. And what I had to do when I was growing up and becoming myself, I had to wear what was called a mask. And we all develop a mask when we're put in our place by shame and have to turn that into humility. We're doing both things. We're learning we can learn how to be uh, more authentic in expressing, but what we do first is we do put on a mask. I had to wear a mask as a minister, and I was comfortable with the mask. I didn't resent it at all. I just knew it was a mask because when I was when I'm with my own when I'm with my dog or with my wife, um, I can be very non-ministerial, to be honest. I got a reputation here. Uh, um, somebody, a woman was just asking me about where I came from and why I'm here and all this stuff, and I was giving her my answers. In the middle of my answers, she lit into me with a bunch of MAGA stuff. Just coming at me for my beliefs and I used two words, and I told her uh, to f off, and It was kind of public, and then it was made public, and so I'm the hero for telling this to this woman. This is a very Christian community, and they still like that I did that. Um, Vulgarity is not non-spiritual, and uh, seeing Pema Chadron show up on that television show. My name is Earl. It just flipped my world upside down. Am I going too long? I'm probably going too long. I want to talk about,
You're just fine.
all right. Uh, our affirmation speaks of beautiful. I and when I was reading that, and I was reading about the how we learn from our mistakes, how we use our mistakes to grow. It brought to mind the song "While My Guitar Gently Weeps" by George Harrison. My favorite rendition right now has Yo-Yo Ma doing the rhythm, India Ari doing the vocals, and Santana doing the guitar. It's amazing, but it functions as a hymn for me. When it has a line, it has a line toward the end. With every mistake, we must surely be learning. With every mistake, we must surely be learning. Anytime we find ourselves in a state of humiliation because of something somebody else has done, a state of shame because of something we've done, anytime we see that we're off balance emotionally, what we're doing is learning something if we're willing to, if we use it that way. She quotes Elie Wiesel. I'm probably saying it wrong. Um, he wrote extensively on the Holocaust. He was a victim of the Holocaust. Uh, I believe his book was named Night. Uh, and it's just an amazing work. But what he's quoted is saying, and I'm not going to I don't quote him. I'm paraphrasing here. Says that every atrocity starts with the humiliation of one person. You can trace it back. If you look for causation, the humiliation of one person, or at least one person. That made me look back into history. Such things make me look back into history and notable examples of atrocities, and that always brings up Holocaust to me. Um, and uh, it's helpful to remember that Adolf Hitler was just a soldier in a trench, along with other soldiers, and they were humiliated by their government accepting a truce when the troops still thought they had a chance. And 20 years later, that humiliation festered into World War II. That's You could trace that through history. Just one humiliation is all it takes. We're doing vital work by working on these emotions. We do vital work with our affirmations. The use of affirmations is the use of the word to create ourselves. And when we make them a part of our work and a part of our experience, we and take them deep inside, we can change ourselves. We can change our lives. The basic tool for that is meditation. Let's take a moment for meditation. Christine S., are you going to move us into meditation with music? Well, I'm going to invite you to turn within and allow your breathing to become steady. We relax our body, every part of it. If you need to move something, to be fully relaxed. Do that. Breathe in and breathe out again. This is an emotional practice. Our body is directly connected. Meditation can be used to bypass the emotions, to skip emotions. That's how powerful it is. We don't use it that way. We use it to open, to deepen. What was that humiliation trying to teach me? What was that experience showing me the way? Keep just breathing into the body and allow the emotions to relax. Meditation is a great way to hear your own mind. When thoughts intrude, acknowledge them. Back and breathing out. The meditation technique that Pema Chodron teaches focuses on the breath. There's a sensation when you breathe in. There's a sensation when you breathe out. Focus on that sensation, and it quiets the mind. Sometimes all you need is a quiet mind to straighten out the thoughts, straighten out the jumble, to see things clearly. You're evolved to meditate. We give thanks for the opportunity to learn, to grow, to expand, to understand. We give thanks for peace. We give thanks for one another as we learn to treat our world with compassion. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend David. That was beautiful. I'm going to invite Christine Mess back for some more music before we go into our announcements. Are you ready, Christine S? Thank you.
face. Words can't bring me down. So will you bring me down today? To all your friends, you're delirious, so consumed in all your doom, trying hard to feel your emptiness. The peace is gone. Love the puzzle of darling, now you are beautiful. Say words can bring you down. How beautiful and every single word is. Words can bring you down. So you bring me down today. No matter what we say, so it's up to you. Beautiful mistakes everywhere we go. So tomorrow we might be on the other side. We are beautiful. What say? What say? Beautiful. What say? I love you. So will you bring me down today? Will you bring me down?